You did it again. Something good was forming. You could feel it. The relationship was deepening. The project was gaining momentum. The opportunity was right there, real and close. And then you pulled the pin. Maybe you picked a fight that didn't need to happen. Maybe you stopped showing up. Maybe you said something just sharp enough to push the other person away. Maybe you simply went quiet, retreated, and let the whole thing collapse without a single dramatic move. No explosion, no confrontation. It just ended, and some part of you let it. This is not a mistake. It is not bad luck, and it is not because you are broken or incapable of good things. What happened has a name in psychology, and once you understand what it is, you will never be able to unsee it. The closer something good gets, the more dangerous it starts to feel. That is the core of it, but the reason goes much deeper than you think. You have one. Everyone does. And one of the most common complexes is built around a single terrifying belief that good things are not safe. Think about where that belief might come from. You did not arrive here as a blank page. You arrived trailing a childhood, a family system, a set of early experiences that taught you what the world was like before you were old enough to question those lessons. And in many family systems, not abusive ones, not dramatic ones, ordinary, unremarkable ones, love and disappointment were woven together so tightly it was impossible to separate them. Good things arrived and then disappeared without warning. Closeness led to criticism. Success was followed by pressure, envy, or sudden withdrawal. Happiness had a ceiling. You learned, not in words but in the body, not in theory but in the nervous system, that the higher something good climbs, the harder the fall becomes. James Hollis, one of the most important Jungian analysts writing today, puts it this way: we are all driven more by what we fear than by what we want. The fear is older. The fear is louder. The fear is wired deeper into the system than any conscious desire for a good life. So when something good begins to materialize, when it becomes real enough to lose, the unconscious does not celebrate. The unconscious sounds an alarm. And here's where it gets strange. The alarm does not feel like fear. It rarely announces itself as anxiety. What it feels like is restlessness, irritability, a sudden, inexplicable urge to criticize the person you love, a creeping sense that this opportunity is not quite right, that there is something off, something you cannot name but cannot ignore. The unconscious is extraordinarily creative. It will construct 1,000 different reasons to justify the exit. It will make the sabotage look like a decision. It will make self-destruction look like wisdom. This is what psychologists call self-handicapping. The term was introduced in 1978 by researchers Stephen Bergloss and Edward Jones after a series of experiments that revealed something quietly devastating about human behavior. When people anticipated that they might succeed, when success was real and close, a significant number of them created obstacles for themselves in advance. They chose conditions that made success less likely, not because they wanted to fail, but because failure with a built-in excuse felt less dangerous than succeeding and then discovering they could not sustain it. Read that again. Sabotage felt safer than success. Because if you destroy it yourself, you never have to find out what would have happened next. You never have to discover what you are actually worth. You never have to hold the good thing and feel the weight of the possibility of losing it. You cut the thread before anyone else can. You take control of the ending because you do not trust yourself to survive someone else taking it from you. There is a deeper layer to this. Jung believed that the psyche always moves toward wholeness, that there is something inside us that wants to grow, that pushes toward integration, that is drawn toward meaning and depth and real connection. He called it the individuation drive. It is not comfortable. It does not move in straight lines, but it is real and it is persistent. What this means is that your sabotage is not simply a defense. It is also a signal. When you destroy something good right before it fully arrives, part of what you are doing is protecting yourself from a version of life that your unconscious does not yet believe you are allowed to have. You are enforcing a ceiling that was placed on you before you were old enough to consent to it. The ceiling has a name. Psychologists call it the upper limit problem. Gay Hendricks, a psychologist who spent 30 years studying this pattern in his clients, described it as an internal thermostat, one that was set during childhood and has been regulating your life ever since. When happiness, love, or success climbs past a certain level, the system kicks in automatically to bring the temperature back down to what feels familiar, not what feels good. What feels familiar? Familiar and safe have become the same word in your nervous system. Even when familiar means small. Even when familiar means alone. Even when familiar means watching the good thing collapse and feeling, beneath the grief, a strange and shameful sense of relief. That relief is not a character flaw. It is evidence of the calibration. It is your system telling you it has returned to its set point. And it is also the most important piece of information available to you, because it points directly at the belief that needs to change. So what do you do with this? The first move is the hardest one. It is not a strategy or a technique. It is a form of attention. You have to learn to notice the moment the alarm goes off, not after you have already walked out of the door, not after the relationship has already collapsed, but in the moment when the irritability appears, when the urge to criticize arrives, when the exit starts to feel logical. That moment is the signal. Something good is close enough to threaten you. That is what the discomfort means. Marie-Louise von Franz, one of Jung's closest collaborators, spent her career studying the unconscious not as an enemy to be conquered, but as a language to be learned. She argued that the unconscious does not malfunction. It responds. It is always responding to something, a fear, a belief, a wound that was never fully addressed. When you can identify what the response is trying to protect you from, you interrupt the automatic program. This is not a one-time insight. The pattern will come back. The alarm will sound again the next time something good gets close. But each time you catch it, each time you name it before you act on it, the grip loosens slightly. The ceiling rises slightly. You begin to build a new kind of evidence about what you are allowed to have. The goal is not to become someone who never fears loss. The goal is to become someone who can hold a good thing and stay present while it grows, without needing to destroy it first to make the fear stop. You did it again. You saw something good forming, and something deep in you moved to end it. That something is not you. It is older than you. It was built before you knew what you were building. And it can be rebuilt, one moment of recognition at a time, one decision to stay when everything in you says go, one act of remaining present in a good thing long enough to realize that the ceiling was never real. It was only ever a feeling. And feelings, unlike facts, can change.